AT&T connects and ode to podcasts.
Connect the alarm, change the podcast you stream. Connect the snooze, 10 more minutes to dream. Connect the shower, lather up with the news, sports talk, comedians, or movie reviews. Connect with that 3-hour philosophy show. Change the drive into work and traffic so slow. Connect the dishes to voices that glow. Thank you to the geniuses of spoken audio.
Connect the stories, change your perspective. Connecting changes everything. AT&T.
This episode is brought to you by the dating app Bumble. You know what instantly makes someone more attractive? Kindness. Like when they take you out to your favorite restaurant just because, or when they check to make sure you made it home safely, or when they surprise you with tickets to that really obscure rock band you love. That kind of thoughtfulness is really, really hot. Kindness is sexy. Find it on Bumble.
Maruchan superfans are everywhere. From the busy moms who want to deliver maximum flavor in a flash to dorm room diners who want to put some slurp in their step. There are a ton of copycats you could use. But if you want to bless your bowl, there's only one true Maruchan. Whether you choose instant lunch, ramen bowls, yakisoba, or restaurant quality gold, Maruchan is the only ramen worth obsessing over. Smiles for all. Maruchan. See what all the ramen hype is about at maruchan.com.
Serie Chronicles is a Media Chronicles production.
Hi everybody and welcome to Serie Chronicles, your place to be for all of the latest football news from Italy with me, Nikki Bandini, and my co-host, Mina Rizuki. I just want to let you know before we get started this week that we have a free 14-day trial available right now for our Tifosi Patreon membership. So if you would like to get full access to this episode and all of our previous episodes, you can have a 14-day free trial right now. And you'll also get all of our voice notes that we record between the main episodes as well, and some video content as well. So well worth checking out and completely free for 14 days. But for now, let's jump into this week's episode. And I'm really sorry, everyone, because I want to start on a positive note. I want to start with enthusiasm. I want to start with joy. But I have to start with some really upsetting news for everyone. So I found out this morning that Mina Rizuki, my co-host on an Italian football podcast, doesn't like pasta.
I really thought you were going to talk about something else. I can't believe you just outed me like that.
I can't believe you don't like pasta.
I don't. No, absolutely not. Sorry, I don't like any carbs, if that makes any sense. I only like meat. I'm like a vegan's worst nightmare. But I do really like vegetables.
I've eaten lots of meals with Mina, and she's always been like, get a steak, get lots of meat. So I knew that, but come on. I mean, some things are beyond the pale, Mina. It's pasta.
You know when they like put sauce on it, it just stuck so wet sometimes, and I'm just, I don't know. Oh my God, I feel like Simon's about to kill himself. I know, but I like pizza. I'm just somebody who's just a little bit more into like a good carpaccio, some ceviche, a good steak, I'm a carnivore. Or like a lot of grilled like vegetables, or like an aubergine parmigiana or something like that. But I'm just like, that's probably the most that I'll go. But just to have like this pasta in front of my face, so I'm just a bit like, ugh, it's not, I feel like it's a waste of calories.
How dare you?
I know, Nikki. Nikki has woken up on the wrong side of the bed today, and I just feel like she's using this as an opportunity to like go for it,
I have. I'm very grumpy today. I'm going to try not to be grumpy in the podcast. But just so you know, producer Simon has written in the Google document, we're taking applications for replacements. So if you like pasta and Italian football... I'm joking, but he has written that.
I'm going to get sacked.
Mina, let's talk about something that we can't fail to be happy about if you are someone who likes seeing people who are brilliant at football and who we have missed back on a football pitch. San Siro on Sunday night. It was a great treat to see, first of all, Maignan back in goal for Milan. And second of all, perhaps more unexpected, but off the bench making a cameo at 41 years old, Zlatan. He's not finished, Mina.
Well, we'll see. I'm joking. I know I kind of like the part where he's like, I'm sort of, my salary's gone so we can pay for Charles de Ketelaere. So I thought that was quite funny. But yes, we haven't seen him since the 1st of May 2022, and Zlatan is back. In all honesty, forget Zlatan for a second. Milan is back. Milan is back, baby. And in just this, how last week, and we joke a lot about this, but how last week we said oh, Mina, this is your ideal team in which, they play great football. You take them, you make them terrible, and then you watch them because now you're having fun. Yeah. And that's kind of what I like, right? But it's not that. I love a team that understands the basics and plays the fundamentals really well and then starts to elevate. I don't like the other way around. And to me, I felt like Milan had started the season in really kamikaze fashion. It's kind of just really chaotic. A little bit of do you remember Pirlo's Juve, where it's kind of just mad and you don't really know where everything is supposed to be? And they were poor in set pieces. You didn't know what was going on defensively. They looked like they were missing a body. Of course, they had achieved a lot of wins, but to me, there was just this element of them where any minute now they were going to fall apart. And I love this match because this match was the perfect. We found our fundamentals. We found our psychology. And now we can elevate. Now we can play. Now we can show you what we can do because we know that we've tied down the things that need to be tied down. And so I just felt like it was such a test of maturity. It was such a great performance from a defensive point of view that allowed the attack to do as much as it could in the second half. And I just thought recovering Theo like that, he's just been, he didn't come back at the best of circumstances, but he's really been growing with each match. Having Maignan back, sort of, giving back instructions, having Krunic have the game of his life in midfield. And it was a good Milan because it wasn't reliant on needing Bennacer in midfield. It wasn't reliant on Leao having a great game. It wasn't reliant on anything. It was reliant on the team's ability to be Milan and know sort of, what the fundamentals are, how to tie things up that they need to. And then that allows the creativity to kick in and allows them to take risks going forward. So for me, this was just, 4th consecutive clean sheet after conceding, 13 and 4. Ciao. Is that how Patrick can
Ciao. Yeah, so this has been on my mind because, of course, Patrick came on last week and was saying it slightly different to how we were saying it. And then I did hear him, ciao, use it himself as more like ciao. So I'm going to try to do that myself. I have been calling him Theo up to now. So yes, ciao.
Ciao. Yeah, that was amazing. And here's the thing, as much as Milan were really good, there's also this element of how bad was Atalanta. So I was a little bit surprised considering that Atalanta's Atalanta, but this is the second loss in a row, the first being against Lecce, right? And it just kind of just seemed like no matter what it is that they try to do, you can now almost see why, everyone is talking about Højlund. Everyone is saying that he's the guy that everyone wants, and he should be talked about because he's been fantastic. But this is kind of the part where you see the difference in technical ability, perhaps by Atalanta in comparison to a team like Milan. And I feel like sometimes with Atalanta, they do have this ability to, if they can't do what it is that they know how to do, they don't necessarily know how to do another thing, if that makes, there's no real plan B sometimes. And I think they tried a lot, but it was also the excellent defense of Milan that sort of shut them down and made them feel like they were just impotent in many ways, couldn't really strike at all. And having Maignan and Zlatan Ibrahimović back just totally raises the psychology and the mentality. And I don't know, I kind of feel like now I'm a little bit more on board with Milan making it to the quarterfinals. If they play like this, they'll wipe Spurs out.
Wow, some confidence from Mina. Yeah, look, it's we've sort of been going step by step, haven't we, with Stefano Pioli ever since the switch to the 3-5-2, which of course came in the derby against Inter. And let's be fair, they were terrible in that derby against Inter. That was the game when in 90 minutes they didn't have a single shot on target in the derby, and what a scandal. But Pioli stuck to his guns and kept with the 3-5-2 and battened down. And the next game against Torino wasn't much better. But it's interesting, isn't it, how in a very sort of short frame of time, we've gone from that derby when Milan didn't have a single shot on target in 90 minutes. And now it's 3 weeks later, they're playing Atalanta. And I don't think Atalanta had a shot on target in 90 minutes. So they flipped the script in very little time with Pioli, and have to give all sorts of credit for that. I think that it is really exciting to see, to bring it back to Mike Maignan. It's very exciting to see Mike Maignan back. It's lovely to see Zlatan back. To me, Zlatan is a bit of a sideshow. That doesn't mean he's always been. I love Zlatan. I just think at 41 years old, what's he really going to change this season? I don't think he'll change much. But Mike Maignan changes a lot. And it's not just that he's a better goalkeeper in terms of stopping shots than Tatarusanu, which he is. But I think one of the big things that's been missing with Tatarusanu in goal is the distribution. It's one of the things that probably marked Mike Maignan apart from Donnarumma when he replaced him. Donnarumma is an exceptional goalkeeper, and I know his career hasn't gone quite as well since leaving Milan, but let's not forget he was literally like what was the award he got at the end of the Euros? Were he given the man of the match for the final? I can't remember anymore. He was brilliant at the Euros. And Maignan came in, and one of the reasons that Maignan
best goalkeeper, no?
I think he was more than just best goalkeeper, though. I think he was
player of the tournament.
Was he player of the tournament? That's what I was trying to remember.
I believe he was, yeah.
Thank you, Simon, because I was thinking, is that right? It was what I had in my head, and I was like, but I can't have been the whole tournament. Yeah, I think he was. But yeah, you replace him with Mike Maignan, and the reason that Mike Maignan was sort of like able to feel better in some sense, it wasn't so much he was a better shot stopper. They were both great shot stoppers, but Magnan's a really good distributor. And I think that could be part of the difference going forward between, okay, we've gone to this 3-5-2 and we're not going to concede goals anymore, to we've gone to this 3-5-2, but also we're going to start getting better going forward again. So I think it's a huge boost to have him back. But the whole team played really well, as you said, Mina, and a really striking result and performance. Because I think if you'd asked a few weeks ago, I certainly was not confident that Milan were going to finish ahead of Atalanta at all. I think if you'd asked a few weeks ago when Atalanta were sort of storming upwards with Højlund scoring all those goals like you were just talking about. I mean, they had that crazy sort of run where they won 8-2 against Salernitana. They won 5-2 against Spezia. I would not have been confident around the time of the derby when Milan lost the derby that Milan were going to finish ahead of Atalanta at all. Whereas now I would say, okay, yes, no, they look distinctly a better team.
This episode is brought to you by the dating app Bumble. You know what instantly makes someone more attractive? Kindness. Like when they take you out to your favorite restaurant just because, or when they check to make sure you made it home safely, or when they surprise you with tickets to that really obscure rock band you love. That kind of thoughtfulness is really, really hot. Kindness is sexy. Find it on Bumble.
It's our duty to support veterans as they transition to their next mission, like Ben, who found his new career at Boeing through the SkillBridge program.
We lead and work with some of the most highly motivated and talented people in the country. The SkillBridge kind of helps you translate all that experience.
And Karine, who found her next purpose with The Mission Continues.
Once you get out of the military, you don't lose that sense to want to give and to want to make a difference.
Learn more about the programs for veterans and their families at boeing.com/veterans.
At Capella University, you'll get support from people who care about your success. From before you enroll to after you graduate, pursue your goals knowing help is available when you need it. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the thing also with, I think, here's the thing, the way that Milan play in general, I want to credit Stefan, I want to credit Pioli with all of this, by the way. I think that there's a lot that sometimes there is still sort of hesitation when it comes to your opinion. Pioli, I've always thought, personally, he's been my guy since, 2012, really. I've loved everything that he does. But there's always a fear that sometimes when it starts to fall apart, can he find the right mechanisms to change that around, right? Because he sort of knows how to ride a wave really well. And I think this growth in his elevation at Milan is nothing short of spectacular. And I think what he has done, as much as he has found a system, he's very much not a systems guy. He's a guy who understands what his players do and creates a sort of a formation for that team. And that was why it was so brilliant, because he did have Donnarumma and then he did have Mike Maignan, and brilliant midfielders. So he could create this sort of short team that pressed, that was aggressive, that brought out the best in players like Leao and obviously Giroud, lots of creative opportunities, allowed sort of the fullbacks to bomb forward, especially Theo. And then what happened is that when you lose that and you do have a goalkeeper like Tata Rushanu, who isn't as good as with his feet, you can't just afford to put two centre backs in front of him and then just allow the two fullbacks to bomb on, especially without a midfielder like Kessié as well, who can cover or fill in gaps when needed be, and who has strength in midfield. And I think that changing that and sort of adjusting it and finding what the problem is and finding a solution for it is brilliant, by the way. And I can't say that enough, because I think the brilliance of Gasperini is in always building a team that is perfect for what he had, like sort of building a scheme that's great for what he has. When his team had just got Højlund and obviously Boga and Lookman and is still trying to find its feet offensively, they became a very good defensive team at the start of the season and then started to elevate going forward. What Milan had is a very good team going forward, but with obviously Mike Maignan being lost at the back, he changed it all, found a solution in by Thiago, making three players so that they did sit a little bit deeper, not taking the defensive risks that they did before, because Maignan is so good with his feet. Obviously, Tata Rushanu doesn't have the same skills, and you needed sort of more strength and ability and power in front of him. And I think that they found that. They found the sort of the perfect way to combat that, and getting all these clean sheets and bringing Mike Maignan back means that they now have the flexibility of playing different formations, because I think they can revert back to the way that they were before if they wanted to. Although I much prefer this one because I think it gives them greater balance right now. But I just love that he's not depending on certain people. You know, it's not, this is a squad that isn't depending on Mike Magnan's brilliance. It's not depending on Leao's brilliance. It's kind of finding its feet on a tactical level that it can adapt to the situation. And that is all about Pioli. And I feel like he really needs to sort of get the credit for how much he's just turned the situation around, because I really felt like they were falling down a well, and like it was collapse after these performances. And you just thought, like, I can't understand, because it seemed like every time an opponent was going through, they were going to score a goal. And they were just poor from everything, from set pieces, from any sort of defensive maneuvers. They couldn't find a goal within them, and just building up slowly to the performance that they had against Atalanta. I don't know, chapeau.
I keep giggling to myself at Ciao now, and it's nothing that you've done. It's actually just a podcast I was listening to earlier, an Italian language podcast called Che partita hai visto? And it relies on this pronunciation we were just talking about, Mina. They were asking, is Ciao like the Pokemon combination of Leao and Teo Hernandez? Teo, Leao, Ciao. And now I've got that in my head. So whenever I hear Ciao, that's what I'm hearing. I don't know anything about Pokemon, by the way, but it just made me laugh, that idea that we've got like the next stage in development.
I don't know anything either.
But I mean, he's been brilliant, Ciao. And I do think that's like a really sort of, I talked about this in a previous podcast. I think that's a really sort of important like element in how that defense has come together, is in the same way as discovering Kalulu last season. It's like we've discovered not discovered the player because he was already there, but we've discovered how to get the most out of this player and turn that back two into a back three, the centre back two into a centre back three, and have him become really important in it. Because the balance now, and I was worried at the beginning of whether Tomori was going to be able to reclaim his place. Of course, Tomori has now come back in, and it's Kjær who's not there at the weekend, and it works fine still with Kalulu, Ciao and Tomori, which is really exciting because, of course, that's a much younger trio than it is with Kjær in there. So really positive at the back for them. Really positive performances, as you mentioned, from Krunic in this game. Teo, who had a good performance, obviously doesn't get the goal because it's an own goal, but hit the woodwork and was very much involved in that first goal.
Tonali aperto lateralmente, la giocata profonda da parte di Kalulu, la sponda di Giroud, Hernandez, 1-0 Milan, con l'autogol da parte di Musso. Sarà dato autogol perché il pallone è rimbalzato sul palo, ha sbattuto sulla schiena del portiere dell'Atalanta, ma ci deve essere un feeling particolare di Hernandez quando si trova di fronte.
Bit unlucky probably that doesn't go as his goal. Leao having a better performance again, Macias scoring the goal, Giroud I thought had another of the good games up front. It's just all really positive, and I'm not as bullish as you, Mina. I'm still thinking that game against Tottenham away at Tottenham is going to be difficult. Tottenham obviously got a good win at the weekend over Chelsea, but I think Milan are...
Because Stellini was in charge.
Sorry?
Every time they've managed a great win, it's Stellini in charge and not Conte.
It's true.
Conte will be back for Milan, so.
But yeah, it's excited. I'm excited for them, and I think we've touched on this already. We'll talk a bit more about the teams who did play in the last week, but it's been really buzzy and exciting seeing Italian teams do well in Europe, and it would be really thrilling for Milan to get to a quarterfinal. So fingers crossed for them.
Ollie is here to give vaginas the respect they deserve. That means shame-free supplements like Happy Hoo-Ha with a clinically studied dose of lactobacillus, and Love and Libido with clinically studied ashwagandha, lastamiana, and maca, because your pleasure should be a priority. Join the shame-free movement at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This episode is brought to you by Only Natural Diamonds. Do you know the difference between a laboratory-grown diamond and a natural diamond? Lab-grown diamonds are mass-produced in weeks and have distinct patterns. But natural diamonds are over 1 billion years old and support the livelihood of millions of people. Around 80% of the value of every rough diamond remains in local communities and supports infrastructure, healthcare, education, and more. Learn more at naturaldiamonds.com.
In the 2 minutes it takes to brush your teeth, you're not just investing in your oral health, you're investing in your overall wellness. That's why Philips Sonicare provides clinically proven tools to help you get more out of that time. Like Philips Sonicare Protective Clean 6100, which whitens teeth in just 1 week versus a manual toothbrush. Always get it right with Philips Sonicare, the #1 most often recommended power toothbrush brand in the U.S. by dental professionals. Available at Target.
On the Atalanta side, I think the generous party wants to say there's going to be ups and downs when you've got a team which has got a very young core running through it. This has been a big transition year again with Atalanta, and that happens. I think there are some players in that team who I've definitely sort of seen blowing hot and cold. I think Scalvini has been great some games and 9 others.
He does slide a lot.
Yes, he goes to ground more than he needs to. Yeah, that's something he needs to grow out of, I think, because while it's great having those moments where you get a big thumping tackle, the best defenders are never on the floor that much, are they?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you.
And yeah, Højlund was quiet in this game, but I don't suddenly think that Højlund's not brilliant. I think Højlund is brilliant, and I can't wait to see more of him. But yeah, he's 20 now, isn't he? But he's 20 years old. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of good still to come from him. And
absolutely.
I'm not sort of big picture worried about Atalanta. I just think they're probably not. And I think I thought this even when they were playing well. I just thought it was a classic Gasperini act of getting the best out of them. They're not player for player a team that should be in the top 4. Being frank about it, they've got some interesting players, but they're not.
But they are sort of Gasperini, so you always feel like you have so much faith in them because of who their coach is and how much you can extract from that team. And I do think they have a really great forward line because Gasperini made it a really great forward line, and we have to remember that. And obviously, like you said, they're kids, so it's not like we can expect that he's now all of a sudden going to figure out how to, deal with every sort of defense, because that was a hard defense to deal with yesterday. I mean, who thought I was going to say this about Milan after the disaster that they had, in January and Feb? So it's amazing that now I can say, like, he's going to, like, it's a great lesson for him, because now in the next, he's going to sort of try to deal with that better, and everything's a lesson, right?
So yeah, interested to see how Milan do in that game against Tottenham, but it's not actually the next game. They've got we got a week off from the Champions League, so they've got Fiorentina next weekend, and then the game against Tottenham away from home, which we will be eagerly awaiting.
Shout outs?
Why don't we do some shout outs? Yeah, let's do some shout outs to people who have signed up for our Chronicles Tifosi Patreon membership in the last little bit. I'm going to do the first half, Milan. I'll let you pick up for the last 3, although I've seen an exciting name in your half already.
Yeah.
So thank you so much to everyone who supports the podcast and helps us to keep making this show, which we enjoy making so much. Thank you this week to Will White, to Sam De La Barca, and to 1312 Mandy.
Also to Neil, just Neil, we like these names, William Fotherby, and to Kay Murray, host of ESPN FC, as well as CalcioCast podcast, and of course our former host of Serie Awesome, the predecessor to this podcast. Hi guys, hi Kay.
Miss you, Kay.
Yes, we miss you lots, and what an awesome job you're doing at the moment. Thank you to everyone who is listening. Please continue to do so.
Hey gang, just wanted to let you know that you can now get a free 14-day trial of our Chronicles Tifosi Patreon membership.
Subscribe now for free for 14 days to get access to all of our full episodes, solo minisodes, bonus content, even behind the scene bonuses like our chats about football, and of course our chats about life in general. You can also get the entire back catalogue of Serie A Chronicles content.
So head over to serieachronicles.com/Patreon and subscribe to the Chronicles Tifosi membership for free.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.